Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Brothers and sisters, I want to say this is such an honor for me. Last night I received the Friends of Ireland Award from Terry. Today I want to thank you, President Sean McGarvey, and the General Presidents and the entire board and all of the members here from NABTU. I just want to say to all of you, this is my family. You're my family. In the last couple of years, I've traveled to 44 different states. I didn't hit all 50 in my first 2 years. I would have if I stayed. But every single trip I went on, I went to a union hall. I was in your union halls. I met your members. I met you. I met the leadership. And I want to thank you for opening your arms to me every single place that I've gone, because it's such an honor. Before I formally get started, I want to just recognize my General President, Terry O'Sullivan, for his contributions to the labor movement in the last 25 years. And I want to thank you, Terry, for all that you've done for me. And I also want to give a shout out to my local in Boston, Local 223 in Boston, and to the Greater Boston Labor Council. Thank you for what you did for me as well, allowing me the opportunity to lead that incredible organization. To all the locals in New England, I want to thank you as well for having my back, whether it's been running as a state representative, head of the building trades, as mayor of the city of Boston, as Secretary of Labor, and now my role as the NHLPA director. I want to thank you for all of that. To everyone here, your support has meant the world to me. This convention, some of you might be new here. I stood on this stage when I ran for mayor of Boston. I want to thank you for the support then. You supported me when President Biden asked me when he was putting his cabinet together and wanted me to be part of his cabinet. You partnered with me when I served as labor secretary. You helped me bring the values of the labor movement into the federal government. Something that I'm very proud of. I was proud to serve in the most pro-worker, pro-labor, pro-union administration in the history of the United States for President Biden and Vice President Harris. And I want to thank them for that opportunity. Today, you probably saw a video of President Biden announcing his re-election. He's going to be on the stage in a little bit. And I want you to understand, I want you to think about this for a minute. I only have a couple minutes, so I'm going to take point of personal privilege. I might run over a couple minutes, Sean. I apologize. But I need to say a couple things here today. This administration, with your help, has achieved so many great things. So far, the American economy, people have doubted this. The American economy has added 12.6 million jobs under President Biden's leadership. Unemployment's at a record low, 3.5% in the United States of America. No economist said that this was possible. This administration has launched investments in America that will create good jobs for years to come in infrastructure, in manufacturing, in clean energy. And on every single one of these, we did something else. We worked across the president's cabinet to make sure that on most of this work, and we get to fight, some of it's our responsibility, to make sure we get labor protections of these investments. We have the right to join a union in these investments. We have project labor agreements in these investments. At the Department of Labor, we launched a reform of the Davis-Bacon rule to be ready for these investments. We have pre-apprenticeships in these investments to create access for women, workers of color, all workers in good union jobs. And for our veterans, not to forget our veterans and rural Americans. We invested in for retirees as well. We rescued union pension plans that were at risk of going broke and cutting benefits. I sat in this audience for years talking about and hearing about people talk about the pension funds in America. President Biden saved the multi-employer pension funds with one piece of legislation. They're fully funded through 2053. This president said he'd put the power back in the hands of working people, and that's exactly what he did. In response, we've seen the biggest surge in organizing activity in this country that we've seen in decades. We've seen the strongest support for unions in this country in over half a century. The poll numbers say it. As this president says, the middle class built America and unions built the middle class. We are now rebuilding the middle class and rebuilding this country with good union jobs. That was the idea behind the pre-apprentice program that I started in Boston. Sean alluded to it, building pathways. We have young graduates today in this hall that started, young people of color from Boston, Massachusetts, that started as a construction worker that now work in the offices of the unions in the city of Boston because we started that program. We started a program in the city of Boston, Operation Exit, to get justice-involved people to turn their life around into good union careers. I brought those models to the Department of Labor, and now we're sharing them with other industries across the economy. And at the same time, your president, President McGarvey, and NAPTU have been expanding this work in the building trades across the country. This is how we restore and expand the middle class in our country, with access to good union jobs for everyone. I was at the Tradeswomen Building Nation Conference in Vegas last year. Just shout out for that. It was amazing. I got to tell you, I've come to this conference, I was saying earlier today, since I was 21 years old. And I went to the Tradeswomen Building Nations Conference in Las Vegas many years ago. Guys, you got a lot to learn because you got duds compared to the women's conference. It's amazing, the excitement there. But what I saw was women of all races from all across this country celebrating their union. I felt a new and powerful energy in the building trades and the labor movement. It made me incredibly proud to be part of this labor movement, something that I'm excited about, looking forward to. The building trades are making it a reality for working class families every day. I just want to quickly touch upon elections, because for the last 2 years I've come to this convention, I can't say it, but I can say it today. Elections have consequences. Who you vote for has consequences. Has consequences on your jobs, has consequences on your family, on where you live, where you buy a house, where you buy a truck, where you buy a car. It's important for you to remember that. And I know the people in this room, most of you, if we polled most of you, the numbers are going to be fine. But when we go back home and you go back to your union hall, if you don't share the message there, it doesn't matter. That's where the message needs to be shared, in your union hall, on your job sites. I often say this, when you first ran for office in your local union, the excitement that you had when you first ran, that excitement, that nervousness, that wanting to make a change, all of that, we need that right now in 2023 and 2024 heading into a national election. Because our country is still at a crossroads. We're still looking at who we are going to be as America. We got a glimpse a few years ago of what it was like when people went after IRAPs and getting rid of apprenticeships and getting rid of Davis-Bacon requirements and trying to get rid of multi-employer pensions and getting rid of all the project labor agreements. We got a taste of that. We know what that feels like. And if you forgot what it felt like, well, just sit back and think about what it feels like. And we've got a taste for the last 2 years about having a president who understands the project labor agreements, who wants to raise the Davis-Bacon rates. I know when I got into that office, raising the Davis-Bacon rates might not help the laborers in Boston and New York and places like that, but it's sure as shit going to help the laborers in Texas and the down south and other parts of this country that are fighting and battling for equal pay on their job site. The pathway into the middle class is in this room. The pathway into creating jobs for opportunities for rural Americans, for immigrants, people of color, for veterans, for your members' kids is in this room. This is the pathway. You are the pathway into the middle class. We've talked about the haves and have-nots. We've talked about the divide in our country. We've talked about the 1%, 2% in the rest of the country. Well, brothers and sisters, it's the building trades and some of the other unions that can close that gap. And that's why when I say elections have consequences, elections have consequences. I want to close with this. In my new role, I can showcase the benefits of the labor movement and collective bargaining for the whole world to see through professional sports. I have the opportunity to do that because I'm a laborer and I'm a member of the building trades. I have always been, and I always will be, a member of my union and a member of the building trades. You've heard me say from this stage so many times that my father and uncle had a chance to join the laborers union. They were immigrants from Ireland. Sean McGarvey said they're immigrants from Ireland. He didn't say they were from Ireland, but they were immigrants that came to this country. And because of an opportunity, they had a chance to join the laborers union. They had a chance to be part of the labor movement. And I had the chance to be part of the labor movement as well. The union was our ticket to the middle class. It was my family's ticket to the middle class. We weren't rich, but that union gave us health care. That union allowed my father to retire with dignity with a pension and annuity. That union allowed my mother to be able to have my father's pension when he passed away. That union was there to support my family in more ways than one. That union was there to support our brothers and sisters in our own local union. That's when I talk about creating a pathway into the middle class. That's the belief when I brought that same belief to being a legislator in Massachusetts. I brought that same belief of my upbringing and creating an opportunity to the mayor's office in the city of Boston. I brought that same belief and that education I received to Washington in President Biden's campaign. And I got to tell you this, when I was sitting at a table in the White House in the Oval Office, you were sitting at a table in the White House in the Oval Office with me. When I went to a cabinet meeting, you were in those cabinet meetings sitting across from me, a building trades member. When I traveled to 44 states, you were with me every single place I went, literally with me in those places. At every single one of those meetings I went to and rooms I was in, I carry my union book in my pocket. It says I'm a laborer and a member of the building trades. And I will always be. I am proud of that. I took that union book out not just in meetings with union members. I took that union book out in meetings with executives and business leaders to let them know that we are partners, we can work together. That's what I did when I was in my job. Brothers and sisters, I want to say to you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to say thank you to Sean and the board and all of you for this recognition. I am a laborer. I am a member of the building trades. I will never forget that. Every opportunity I've had in my life, every opportunity is because of my family and because of my union and because of you in this room. We have an obligation. All the stuff that, all the accolades I've gotten, people say, you've done a great job at your life, career, your life. It's not me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the people that came before me. I'm standing on my uncle's shoulders, on my father's shoulders, just like all of us in this room. None of us created what we have today. None of us created the offices and the membership and the benefits and the health and safety and all that stuff. None of us created that. It was the people that came before us that created that. It's our obligation now to protect that and preserve that and fight for that and continue to fight for that to move that forward. And when you go back to your union halls, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, when you go into Union Hall, you'll see the charter on the wall. And you have a lot of pictures on the wall. I know Terry and Ahmed are on the wall, and a lot of the laborers' halls and other general presidents on the wall. Those aren't the most important pictures. The most important pictures in your union hall is the Constitution and the members, the charter who's founded your union. And let's not forget the struggles that they went through. They went through to start your great international union, whatever union you belong to. Those are the folks that we owe them a debt of gratitude, and we owe them a thank you for what they have done. And I owe you a thank you for a lifetime of support. God bless you. God bless the labor movement. God bless the United States of America.